Hello, good day. How are you today? Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you watched my first video on this channel, thank you for watching and welcome back. If this is the first video you're watching on my YouTube channel, welcome. Thank you very much to all those who have subscribed. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you very much. So like I said in my first video, on this channel, I'm going to be talking about the 3 M's: medicines, motherhood, and marriage. Yes, that was what I said. And keeping in line with this, today this video is all about motherhood. Yes, from the caption, I'm sure you can tell that. So yeah, today is my first daughter and second child's birthday. Yes, today is Nobi's birthday. Nobi turns 9 today. I really can't even believe it's 9 years ago I had her, because the story I'm about to tell you is still very fresh in my memory, like it was yesterday. It feels like it was just yesterday that it happened. I can't even believe it's already 9 years. And this story is a very emotional one for me. It's I think today I'll be able to tell it without crying. Yes, I'll tell it without crying at the tail end of it. So on my children's birthdays, I usually wake up reflecting on what happened the day I gave birth to them. I also tell them a bit of their birth story. I don't tell them the whole thing. I just take a bit and tell them, so that the next day I'll have something else, to keep telling them. So the day I had Nobi 9 years ago, actually Nobi was supposed to come on my birthday based on the scan dates. I was supposed to have her on 18th of May. And I was really excited that my daughter was going to be my birthday mate. But alas, 18th came and passed and no sign of Nobi. So 3 days later, I woke up around 4 a.m. I was woken up by a sharp pain on my waist area. 10 minutes later, I had that pain again. I realized it was a contraction. So I woke my husband up and told him that this girl was ready to come. So he said, oh yeah, let's go to the hospital. Let's start going. I told him, wait first, let me see how he's doing me. Let me know whether we should start running now to the hospital or I'll wait, for a while. And he reminded me that that day there was a curfew. I think there was an election that day. So there was a curfew starting at 7 a.m. So he told me, no, this one is not about waiting. We need to get to the hospital before the curfew starts so that we don't have issues on the road with the security agents. So I just quickly went, had the bath, and packed up my bag. This packing up bag is making me laugh. With the first one, 6 months. I packed my bag at 6 months. Packed my hospital bag at 6 months. But with the subsequent ones, I was feeling like a pro. I already know what to put inside the bag. I already know what to do. So I think with Nobi was at 36 weeks, I even, packed the bag, and I left it in my car because I used to go to work. In fact, I went to work a day before I had her. So I packed it and put it in my car so that in case I just go into labor at work, I will just drive straight to the hospital. Okay, so I just, I know there were some things that were not in the bag. I just picked them up and then we left. So I think on our way, around some minutes to 7, we got stopped at a checkpoint. Some army men. As the man was even about to ask my husband, where are people going? He just saw my big tummy and then my face, the look on my face alone. Because I think I was having a contraction at that point in time, and I was just squeezing my face so hard. He just said, oh, I beg, where could I go? So when we got to the hospital, they checked me up. I was already 4 cm gone. I was already in active labor, so I had to stay put at the labor room, even though all I felt like was just, walking around to kind of ease the pain I was feeling. The contractions were coming, and they were so intense, so painful, that at a point I started to cry, like cry. Yes, we're no shame in that. If you've had a child before, you know how this pain can be. It can be quite very intense sometimes. I was surprised at myself because I'd had a child before, and I don't think the Libby's labor was this painful. So I was wondering what was happening to me. In fact, I had to start explaining to the nurse. She did not ask me. I was just explaining. I have a child. I've given birth before. I don't know why this one is like this. And she told me all of them are usually not the same now, and all that. And she was really very nice. She held my hands, throughout for almost 3 hours, because I just felt like holding hands, and she was rubbing my back. Don't worry. So like 15 minutes later, Nobi showed up, and God, there's this feeling I get each time I give birth. Once the child comes out, there's this feeling as if they poured cold water on my head. Like, that feeling is priceless. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like, you know, that kind of thing. So they cleaned her up and gave her to her father. By the time they were done with me, cleaning me up, stitching me, by the time I got to the room, the pediatrician had seen Nobi. She had taken her vaccination shots, and they had even pierced her ears. And oh my God, Nobi is the most beautiful baby that I've ever set my eyes on. The girl was she was so beautiful. She's still so beautiful, but she didn't look like a newborn baby. Her skin was glowing, stretched out, you know, so beautiful. I was wondering, let me born this one. So I came to the room. I was hungry. My husband had ordered food from the canteen because there was still curfew. There was no bringing food from the house. So I ate, and I just felt like lying down and sleeping. But because he was alone, I was like, if I sleep, he will just be lonely. Let me just sit up and, you know, gist with him and, you know, all that. So within that duration, I'd gone to change my pad like 2 times. And then I realized that if I laugh or, you know, talk or move suddenly, then I get this, you know, sports, you know, I just get, you know, fluid just pouring out. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to bleed a little. It's, you know, low-key-ish kind of thing, but I don't understand this one. As I was telling him that, he didn't even allow me to land. He doesn't like story. He just called the nurse's station. The nurse came. I explained. She went to the toilet to look at the pads I had changed, and she just said, okay, I'm coming. So she left and came back and said the doctor said I should come to the theater, to the delivery room rather. So when I got there, I laid down and he looked. He just said, what's her blood level? So they opened my file, like the nurse said 13 points. I can't remember the 13 points what it was. And the doctor was like, are you sure? She was like, yes. Wow, he just went, wow. So he started to look for where the bleeding was coming. It was a very painful process because the anesthesia they used to stitch my tear had even worn out, and they had to use forceps to open up and see what was going on in there. Another doctor came and, you know, suggested to him that he should check the cervix first, that he had this way of really bleeding. It could bleed that way, the kind of bleeding that he was seeing. So eventually they were able to locate the tear and they stitched it up. After that, they put me in the wheelchair to wheel me back to my room. When I got into my room, I burst out crying. I was crying so hard. My husband, you know, what is it? Was it painful? Sorry, blah. I said it's not the pain that is the problem. It's the fact that I just realized that this is how a lot of women lose their lives right after childbirth. Because they had given me my medication, they had checked my blood pressure. If my husband wasn't there, I would have, you know, decided to rest, and the baby slept off and bled out. I don't know, you know, just thinking about it, you know, made me really cry so hard. He kept consoling me, at least that didn't happen, you're here, nothing is wrong, you're good. And, you know, it just dawned on me that everything that had happened, you know, that day had been planned. Because if Nobi had come on my birthday, my husband won't be here. I'll be here alone. You won't even be here. God said, no, you won't have that girl on your birthday. You have her on 21st, when there's a curfew. When Ejike will be in the hospital, he won't be here. You know, if there was no curfew, right after I had that baby, he would have gone home to maybe get me food or get me something. But he was there. And that my blood level story. Oh God, my neighbor's mom came, and she came with lots of vegetables. And my neighbor gave me lots of vegetables. I didn't know what to do with it. I made a little vegetable soup for myself. The remaining one, I had this house out there, and she said, Ma, but you're pregnant. Let me squeeze out the juice so that you can be drinking. I told her, I beg, I don't like the taste of that thing. I don't think I want to take it, I beg. And when I'm pregnant here, my taste buds, they just go haywire. So she said, no, ma, let me do it. Yeah, I said, okay, do it. Highest, I'll add honey to it and drink it. So I had this stash of ugu juice in my fridge, and I took it, for like a week. And I think this was what was responsible for my blood level. It was 13 point, almost getting to 14. I just saw how, God had, planned that nothing was going to happen to me on that day. I was just going to be fine. There was everything that was going to happen had been blocked by one event or the other, one thing or the other. So we didn't have a name for Nubi. We didn't have a name before we gave birth to her. I told my husband that when she comes, we would, kind of decide on a name based on the events of that day or how we felt at that point in time. So when we got home, we started to think of a name. I tried to explain how I felt with everything that had happened. I told him that the closest name, that came to my mind was Chinelolu Mumma. The thoughts God has of me are thoughts of, good thoughts. But I didn't want the name Chinelo Mumma. I wanted it said in another way. And then back and forth, and he eventually just came up with Chibum Nobi. We had never heard the name anywhere. And when I heard it, I felt it was a good name that described the events of that day. Chibum Nobi. It means that God has me in mind. I mean, he has me in mind. I think that's the simplest way I can explain what her name means. I hope I got it right. But that's what it means. God has me in mind. He has me in mind. So that is how I survived my second childbirth. And if anything had gone the other way that day, I wouldn't be here telling you guys the story. So each time I have to tell the story, I just remember how, I survived, and how lots of women lose their lives during childbirth over things that, can sort of be controlled. Because if we had, our healthcare system was well equipped with human resources and even with technology, I should have been hooked up with those machines that, check your vital signs per second. And the moment my blood pressure starts to drop, because as you lose blood, your blood pressure will, change. Immediately my blood pressure starts to change, it will start beeping. It will, beep and send an alarm to the nurse's station or all over the hospital, or however they set it up, and they start running to your room to see what the problem is. So without that, I would have just been lying down there. The nurse would be, I've finished with that woman, I've done everything for her, she's probably resting. They might not even check me up in the next 1 hour or two. And if we had enough human resources, I'm sure we're up to 20 women who gave birth in the hospital that day. We should all have at least one nurse assigned to us, one nurse assigned to us to just, check up on us intermittently. So each time I think about this thing, I just kind of remember all the women who lost their lives, for something like this bleeding that wasn't arrested immediately, and I just recall how that doctor, I think his name was Dr. Prince, the way he just said, immediately he just saw the level of the bleeding, he just said, please, what's her blood level? What's her blood level? Because he wanted to be ready. He wanted to see whether they needed to just start looking for blood, or they could, make do with what I had in my body while they tried to quickly find out the source of the bleeding. I'm really very grateful for how, he was very good. He acted very fast. And I said I wasn't going to get too emotional telling this story. I'm trying not to get emotional telling the story. I'm lacking some words. So today Nobi is 9, and she's grown up to be such a child. Get in a hurry. You can't forget in a hurry if you meet her. She is, I call her a bundle of energy. That's what she is, a bundle of energy. She brings so much fun to our lives. Nobi doesn't like to have a dull moment in her life. On all her birthdays, I am grateful to God for, the gift of life for her and for me and for all my family members. So thank you for watching this video and listening to my story. Next week, I know I said next week 3 days ago, and 3 days here later I had a video dropping. So next week I'm going to be talking about medicines. So thank you for watching my video, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.